name is Jeremy. I'm the other side of Bailey Brothers Racing, and I look forward to being here, going over some data. Today we're going to go over Yellow Belly. It was honestly not what I expected going into it. It was, we heard some stories about some craziness that goes on there, but honestly, like, it's one of the best drag racing experiences that I've ever had. So today we're going to be going over some data, going over some challenges that we faced and how we overcame them. Everything from running out of fuel pump to having to do an alignment in the pits. So if you guys want to stay tuned, we're going to get into it. For you that don't know my car, I'm just going to do a pretty quick rundown of the setup. It's a stock bottom end 5.3 with the VS 8896. I'm tuning it myself on Holley Terminator, and it's just got a cam and springs, and it's a pretty basic setup overall, which is all I like to keep it pretty simple. It still has an 8.8 in the back as well. We've got Viking shocks in the rear, and then it's got strange singles up front with some coilers. This event was the True Street class that I raced in at the Baddest Small Tire America at Yellow Belly. As you can see from our data log, and I apologize in advance because I don't have a screen recorder yet, but just kind of looking at it, I really wanted to keep it conservative. We left on some pretty low boost number from what I usually leave at, just because we actually got there Friday night and we bought in, we were gonna race, but then it ended up getting rained out. So all our class ended up starting on Saturday, and I honestly had never been down Yellow Belly before, driven it. So I didn't know how the surface was gonna react, and I wanted to play it safe. I didn't want to blow the tires off in the first round and be a duck. So I definitely played a little conservative. As you can see in the video, it left kind of soft. It only really left on about 5 pounds, but you know, it ramped it in kind of slowly. You can see it hit 19 PSI right there, just kind of going down. But you know, looking at fuel pressure at about 22 pounds, we're looking good. But as we go up into the higher, and I was a little behind the guy that I was racing in the Audi. So at that point I grabbed the scramble, which with the boost leash, I think it had 30 pounds on the gate. But as you can see, that fuel pressure dipped pretty low. Definitely not where we want to be with fuel pressure. And you can see the injector duty cycle went crazy and everything else. So it's definitely not optimal, but it's definitely something that we had to look at. Our fuel pressure was not great. Our duty cycle was way up there as well. So this setup is Bosch 210s with a MagnaFuel 750. And at the E85 level that we're at, I knew I was kind of toting a line, but I didn't think I was there yet. But I guess we're there. So I have redone this fuel system since, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But at the time, I wanted to pull the filters just to make sure nothing was clogged. I've actually had one clog up so much before to where it twisted the filter. So I wanted to just double check everything back there, make sure everything was good. But another problem that we noticed from the extension and slow motion of the video, which is always crucial that you get video of your car, watch what the suspension is doing, slow it down, it'll help you a lot. When it's launching, you can actually see the wheels spreading out, like they're wanting to, each of them go away from the car. And so that was causing issues down track where I was having to drive it a whole lot. Even though it was hooking and it was going straight, it just really wanted to wander and be all over the place. So I definitely wanted to fix that, and Jonathan's the one that noticed it, so shout out to him. But I really wanted to fix that so it would drive a bit smoother, because the surface was kind of rough. There were some bumps in it, and we wanted the car to be as consistent as possible. So we did an alignment in the pits. Don't have any videos or pictures or anything of it. But Jonathan and I literally sat there with a tape measure and adjusted it back and forth and got it to where we thought it was closer, which we did, you know, for what we had and the tools that we had. I think we did a pretty good job. It went straight. So for the next race, we were racing the Trailblazer. And so we'll overlay that right now. This race, I did not get a data log. I have my Terminator set to auto log, and for whatever reason, it freaked out and didn't want to auto log on that one. So I've got to reset now, and it auto logs now, but we didn't get anything from that pass. But just looking at and how the car reacted, it made power, but I didn't want to push it anymore. So we definitely brought the power in sooner and really couldn't pour much more in out the back because I didn't want to blow this little 5.3 up. but the car made a pretty good lick. I don't want to share times because it was a no-time event. I did have my draggy, but we were about 5/10 faster on our second one, which was pretty good considering, and the surface really came around too, especially after all the cars started going through. I was concerned about from the water seeping up through the track, but Yellow Belly's just been a prep track for so long that after cars started making passes, it's like the glue started coming up and it came around really fast. So I was super thankful for that. Our alignment made a big difference. Car drove a lot straighter, thankfully, and it left really good, as you can see from the video. Now on this last one, we made it through that round and he blew the tires off, which I was actually a little nervous being next to him because I know it was a pretty quick trailblazer. I've seen videos of it. It's all over the internet. But I definitely wanted to get after it a little bit more in the 60-foot for the next one just because I knew it could handle it, but I didn't want to go so much to where it blew the tires off. And so we'll overlay that video right now. This one's with the Entertainer. This one is Big Fish. So the Entertainer is one of my heroes in the racing world. I've been watching him for a while, and just seeing him all over and seeing him make good looks and see where he's come from when he had his F-body to where he's at now. Cody Hoffman he's class act, and I really enjoyed racing him. But being up next to somebody like that with everybody around, it definitely gets your nerves going. But thankfully that didn't affect me being able to cut a light. I was able to cut a light, and we ended up not getting the win. As you can see from the video, we barely missed out, and I really think he actually spun on the big end. I really think if we would have had our fuel problem sorted out and we would have more power on the big end, that we could have come around him. But that's racing. It is what it is. But afterwards, I got to talk to him for a while, and he gave me advice, and he was super cool. So shout out to Cody. He's a class act. Love racing with guys like that. It's guys like that to keep the sport alive. So going into this race of Wichita Falls that we're going to have, I've made quite a few changes. First of all being the fuel system, because we need more fuel. So I did some research and thought about doing two 750s, but I've had some friends that said it was a really bad strain on their electrical system, and I don't want to have to upgrade my alternator, and I don't want to have to spend all that kind of money. So I went with something a bit simpler and something that would make the car a bit more drivable. So if you have a 750, you know that they're kind of loud, they like to scream. And so something for street driving, I found the AEM 400, which a lot of drag week guys use. And so I've got the 750 still on the car. It's going to come on under 5 pounds of boost, and I've wired all that in. Got a check valve, the whole 9 yards, all the stuff that you need.
Honestly, it was fairly easy to get all this plumbed. I already had a bracket for the Magna Fuel. I just bought this little bracket on Summit for the AEM, but pretty basic setup. As you can see right here, this is the check valve. For this pump to come on, the Magna Fuel, I just have a ground trigger going to a 60 amp relay, which if you're running a big pump like this, it's always good to, that little wire that comes with the EFI systems is not good enough. It's not going to cut it. And so you want that relay not just for the protection, but so you can get your pump the proper amperage to make it run properly and do everything that you want it to do.
As you can see, I switched up my boost control strategy as well. So before I had a boost leash, and it was useful to get data, right after the race, and it was nice because it logged boost. Even at that second run, I didn't know exactly what all my data was, but I did know the boost data, and I did know that it made boost and made some power. But the boost leash, I really got tired of having two separate systems, and I wanted to be able to save data in one computer and not have to take photos on my phone, and there was a lot of different reasons behind it. But I'm looking forward to having the Holly with my boost control, and I've already tuned my PID settings and things like that. If you guys are doing Holly by yourselves, I would recommend looking up some Devin Vanderhoof videos. He's got some really good stuff out there, and I've learned a lot from him and a lot of others. But I'm really looking forward to these and having a little bit more precise control and having everything in one system, because like I said, data is key. I don't know if you could see from my data log, but I actually even log my shock settings. I log everything because I want to know what conditions we were at, and what happened in that in that exact moment. So if I go back 6 months later, or if I go back to Yellow Belly, then I'll know what settings worked for the track and suspension, and not just knowing the numbers that are on the computer. Guys, that's Yellow Belly. I learned a lot. Got to race with some fantastic people. It was really a great time, and I'll definitely be back to Yellow Belly. So I went over the changes for the car for Wichita Falls. If you guys have any questions or any feedback, then feel free to give it. Hope y'all have a great day, and see you next time.